So, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am Camille Miller. I am the founder and executive director of the Natural Life Business Partnership. It is June 6th of 2018, and we are here with charter member Sue Walski, who is a veterinarian who is going to write spotlight tonight about holistic pet care. Thanks, Sue, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting. Yes.
Yeah. Thanks. Will you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I actually came out here to lovely Pennsylvania, Ottsville, Pennsylvania, where I live right now, in 1981. It's when I graduated from veterinary school, Michigan State University. I am a Michigan girl, born and raised in Detroit. So I never really wanted to stay in the city. And after I graduated, I really wanted to work in Vermont, but there wasn't any jobs available up there at the time. So I kind of traveled down here and interviewed in the Quakertown area and loved the area that I live in. I just love it. It's just so beautiful. And my first job was in a mixed animal practice. I did small animal work and lots of large animal work, which I love. I have a passion and a love for dairy cows. It's like I always loved working on dairy farms. And so I did that for about a year. And then unfortunately, my employer let me go, and I was looking for a new job, and I was stricken with an illness. So I actually was paralyzed. I had Guillain-Barré syndrome for almost a year. So that disease process actually helped me a little bit on my journey and what I'm doing now, interesting enough. But after I recovered, I could really only work part-time. I didn't have a lot of strength, and I totally had to give up any kind of large animal work because it was just way too physically taxing. And I worked at several different practices in the area, some in New Jersey, just on a part-time basis. So I got to see a lot of different ways of practicing veterinary medicine, okay? Learned a lot. And realized I wanted to be my own boss at that point in time, and was fortunate enough to be able to purchase the home that I have now, and actually set up my practice in the basement of the house. And the property that I live on is about 2.5 acres, so it's kind of a little farm itself. And I wanted to set the practice up in the barn, but the zoning wouldn't allow it. So the basement was perfect, and I really quite proud because I started my practice from nothing. I didn't have a single client, and ended up turning it into a 2-doctor practice, myself and another doctor, for the longest period of time. And I was originally just doing conventional medicine, vaccinating, spaying, neutering, hospitalized animal sicknesses, those types of things. And when my last veterinarian decided they were moving on to other things, I decided that, okay, I was just going to go do it myself again. And I started to have some health issues. I actually ended up having frozen shoulders. And the medical doctors, conventional medicine, thought I had a rotator cuff problem, and everything that they were doing just wasn't working. And someone said to me, why don't you go visit a chiropractor? Maybe it's something wrong with your neck. And that's really what started my journey in what I do. And I went to the chiropractor, and he was the one that really told me I had the frozen shoulder. He said, this is what you need to do. Started adjusting, and that started me to explore. And I thought, well, this works so great on me. There's so many things that as a veterinarian, I couldn't diagnose. I had no idea what was wrong with their animal. We, did x-rays, did all kinds of stuff, and still had no idea. And I've come to realize in my journey that there is more, than just conventional medicine. So first I did chiropractic on myself, and then I went to take classes to become an animal chiropractic practitioner. And people ask me, do you adjust people? And I go, no, I just do animals. Mainly dogs and cats, although I was trained to do horses. And then the next part of my medical journey was acupuncture for myself. I had some issues with my ovaries, and before I had surgery, I went to an acupuncturist, and she resolved the issues on the right ovary, and I had surgery to have the left ovary removed. And a blessing again, it was nothing cancerous. And that got me exploring acupuncture then for animals too. I saw how, how non-invasive it was, how great I felt after having acupuncture treatments. And also Chinese herbs is what she, instead of medicines, the herbs were used to help the symptoms I was having. And that was lovely. So that was the next part of the journey. And then that's when I started. I'm going to say it was probably about 1987 is when I started my conventional business. And it was in the late 90s, like 1998, 1999, that I started to do some of the chiropractic and acupuncture here in the business. And just started to explore that more and more. And I realized how many people were really interested in it. And all of a sudden, I just had an aha moment that said, why don't you just do this, instead of, doing everything, become more of a specialty. And then I was really at that point in time really getting into nutrition. And I think nutrition for myself is, I started that for myself. And I realized how important it is for the animals too. And my awareness was, with my own animals, they're always my guinea pigs. So, everything I learned, okay, let's try this on you guys and see what happens. And it's lovely. And my clients were always, as I was learning these different, techniques and processes, it was like, oh, I just learned something new. Do you mind if I try, and they were always game. So that was really fun. So it was about, I'm going to say in 2005, right around that time is when I really started to do less and less what I call conventional medicine, and more of, what's called alternative or complementary medicine. And now in the last, I'm going to say 5 years, I've really no longer take on any regular clients. People want me to be the regular vet. And I go, no, you need a regular vet. And then I will be your complimentary vet. Whatever needs to be done, I can help you with. And more people are so into that because it's like I can direct them. I can say, look, this is what needs to get done. Get that done, and then bring it back to me, and I can help you with it. And most of the things that I work with are cases that conventional medicine can't seem to find answers for. Drugs haven't been able to help, so it was kind of like the same journey I went on is what I'm now helping animals with. Yep. So.
Wow, that's fascinating. So I have a lot of questions already.
Great.
Do you now work at all with farm animals, or do you strictly work with the domestic?
Yes, strictly dogs and cats. Again, okay. Physically, it is quite a bit of work. To work on larger animals. Although for acupuncture, it's not, but I did a little bit of acupuncture for horses, and I have a horse, and I'll play with my own horse, but I don't really promote that as what I do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How about animals like, a rabbit or other animals that people have as pets? Like
exotic kind of, what's considered exotic. Not really. No? I've done occasional rabbits. I have done that. Okay. But it's generally dogs and cats. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And were you holistic by nature, or just did you live a holistic lifestyle at all before you took a conventional practice and kind of went into the holistic side? Like,
no, actually, I would say I was, I wasn't holistic at all. I didn't know really anything about it at all. I was strictly a medical girl, Western medicine. And I'm still not against it, don't get me wrong, but I just trust what my body tells me now. In other words, when I'm given a drug and I know when I need a drug, there's times, even in the animal world, the same thing. There's times you have to put a fire out. You've got a fire burning, and you have to get rid of it before the healing process can occur. So that's and the, like I says, the shoulder injury I had, that's really what opened me up to the holistic world right there. It was like, the doctors were saying, well, none of the medicines they were giving me were working. Oh, you need surgery. I didn't believe them. Okay. So I just trusted myself. And that's in the animal world. Those are the people that I'm attracting. Those are the people that are coming to me, and they're just going, I know there's something that can be done to help my animal, but this is not the route, so that's what's really cool. Yeah.
Got it. So when you were talking earlier about diet and nutrition that helped yourself, and apparently you work with the animals in the same way, the diet, nutrition, what they get, because I guess it would be what they had in nature.
Right.
We domesticated them.
Right.
Are animals also able to take herbs, like Chinese herbs or natural plant-based?
Yes, they can.
Medicinal?
Right. Most definitely. It's how I orchestrate helping people with nutrition is really trying, you have to work with budget too, because nowadays foods can become very, very expensive, but just helping them understand, if anything, the old adage of not giving your animal people food, or we sometimes would say table scraps. Okay, you had a meal, we got leftovers, I'll give it to the dog. Well, personally, I think that's the best thing that you can do, okay, because you are giving them variety. The old thought of just giving them dry food, the same food day in and day out, really is just not, and this holds true for cats too, dogs or cats, is just not what we should be doing. A cat, my feelings are the best thing we could ever feed them would be mice, if we could package that, So I always love it when people say, oh, my cat goes out and hunts and eats it. I go, oh, yay. It's gross to us, but it's beautiful for them because they're getting really, that little mouse to me is like their multivitamin for the day. They're getting everything that they really need. But for our pets who can't really hunt or who are not hunting, that's where I really believe supplementation, whole food supplements is very important, because I learned from my own body that my body recognizes food. It doesn't recognize synthetic vitamins, okay? And if that's one thing I could teach the world, that would be it, is like if you're taking, I take all these multivitamins, I should be really healthy. It's like, well, initially when you start, you're going to feel a little bit better, but then your body just becomes depleted again, and it starts to get really tired, because now your body goes, what is this? I don't have everything I need. And this holds true in our animals, So I really do believe our animals eat better than us as far as, their foods go. But again, most of the stuff, vitamin supplementation wise, is synthetic. So it's hard to find foods that don't use synthetic vitamins. There are some out there. But there's, like I said, if someone says they're giving supplements to their animal, and I had a client in today that feeding their animals great, but they gave this multivitamin. And I said, can I get you to switch to a whole food vitamin? And they were so open to it. They knew nothing about that. So that's part of it, is really educating. Yeah.
I would assume that with animals, kind of as it is with people, organic food is probably better than regular. So if you're feeding your animal bones, for instance, for your dog, is an organic bone better than a conventional bone? Just
sure.
if we have bone broth and I only make it with organic,
no, it is. And that holds very true. That does hold very true for our animals also. Okay. Because if it's not organic, there is going to be, chemicals that are going to be found in the fats and that type of thing. So our animals truly, but things can be expensive. Okay. And that's where you have to weigh, okay, the pros and the cons. But if you can get a good quality type of a food, okay, even if it's not organic, you're ahead of the ball game. Or if you, like it says, if you do feed yourself organically and you give your animal from the table, they're getting nutrition there too. Yep.
Excellent. Good. And my last question, I'll probably have more, but you say that you work kind of as a specialty now and not as a primary care. So do you work in collaboration with any other type of practitioners, or do you work like very closely with the primary care vet?
Yes. I would say right now I'm calling myself more specialized. Okay. So the people who are finding me are, most of them, to be honest with you, are really finding me through my internet connection, the webpage, because they're looking for a veterinarian that does something along my lines, okay? Or I do work up at a practice in Easton part-time. I go up there. The doctor's a good friend of mine, and I see many of her cases there. And if the people can't make an appointment with me up there, they'll come down to my practice, And there are local veterinarians that are now referring to me. They go, oh, why don't you go to see Dr. Walski and see what she has to say, see if she can help you out with anything. But how I work it is I tell people, if you can get me all the possible information that you have on your pet's history or what's going on, if you have x-rays, if you have blood work, I take all of that information and I call it like a puzzle. I says, bring everything in and we'll put all the puzzle pieces together, okay, and see what's going on. And then determine at that point in time which of the modalities that I do is going to be, in the best interest of the animal. Is it chiropractic? Is it acupuncture? Is it using laser therapy? Nutrition always to me is a part of it, okay? I always go over that with the owners. I review the supplements that perhaps they have their animals on, and ask why they're doing it. And sometimes people are over supplementizing their animals. A supplement for this, a supplement for that, supplement for this, and that's where, well, let's just try getting them eating a really good food. That's all the supplements sometimes they really need. So, yeah, I do try to work with other veterinarians in the area as closely as I can. Most unfortunately for me, occasionally they'll call and find out, what do we, and I encourage them to. I'm very happy to educate. I have a couple of vets that will call me with questions, and that's important to me just to get the word out and to educate. Yeah. So if let's say I need a particular x-ray, I'll say, okay, give like a little prescription, take this to your vet, get these x-rays done, so. Blood work. If blood work needs to be done to follow a process that's going on, again, they need to take them to the regular vet. What I say to the clients that come in is, I'm the good vet. I don't poke, I don't prod. They love coming in because if they're getting adjusted chiropractically, they just think they're getting massaged and petted. I would say probably 99% of the animals that get acupuncture, they just lay down and go to sleep. And the laser therapy, the same thing. So everything that I'm doing to them doesn't cause more pain. And that's what's really key is that when they come in to see me, they know that they're going to feel good afterwards. So go to your regular vet for the needles, for the x-rays, and come see me for the fun stuff. Yeah.
Nice. I used to own a greyhound when I was a kid. My parents owned it. It used to eat broccoli. That was its favorite food. We used to bring it heads of broccoli.
Oh, that's funny.
It was the funniest thing. We're like, we have a dog and all it likes is broccoli.
Well, I have so many clients, and my own dog, I experienced it when you plant tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes.
Yeah.
You go into there and they'll pick the tomatoes right off and eat them.
That's so funny. Maybe because they're sweet.
Yeah.
Probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm curious about two things. Acupuncture. And you talked about laser therapy. So with the acupuncture, is it done just like it's done with a human? And do the dogs or cats, do they move around? Is it needles in them?
Yep. Acupuncture is basically the chi, or the energy of the body, and the paths and the meridians that it travels on. And just like we have those meridians on our bodies, so do the animals. And what you're doing with acupuncture is you're actually using the needles and putting them into acupuncture points to help the chi move around. Okay. Sometimes the chi is blocked, and when the chi is blocked, it causes pain. Okay. And occasionally, if you've ever had acupuncture, if a needle's put into you, and if it's a spot where, again, the chi can't move through, it can hurt. Not, like, oh my God, you're going to die hurt, but you put the needle in and there's discomfort, but it moves really quickly. So I'll get occasionally animals. There's certain points that are utilized for the digestive system. One's called stomach 36, and it's on the knee. And if I know I need to use that point, I usually put that one in last because it can be uncomfortable. But the interesting thing is it's a really powerful point because for us and for animals, usually we have issues with our digestive system. So that's why that point can be uncomfortable. But yeah, they tolerate the needles being put in. There's points in the body behind the ears, which is also true for us, that are calming points, that I'll usually put those in first, and that helps to relax them. Every once in a while, there'll be an animal I can't put needles into, and it's usually little fiery dogs. like little Chihuahuas, Jack Russell Terriers. They just, no way it's going to happen. And occasionally some cats too, but I'm really surprised how cats, they just love it. They get the needles in them and they go, okay, I'm going to take a nap now.
I guess the fur doesn't matter at all.
No,
It just goes through.
not at all.
Are they different? Like,
no, it's the same needles, the same type of needles. There's all different size needles, but it's, they're not the needles that are specific for animals. It's just knowing the size to use. And that's when you take the acupuncture course, you learn all these different things. So again, acupuncture too is like an additional training that I went through,
Okay.
None of this, there are a couple veterinary schools now that are actually introducing acupuncture. The University of Florida is one of them, into their veterinary programs, which I think is super. One day, acupuncture will really be considered a part of veterinary medicine. Okay, that's what they're working to have happen, which is cool. Yeah.
Beautiful. And laser therapy, can you explain that a little bit and what that is?
Sure. Laser therapy, it's probably the newest modality that's being used in human medicine and in veterinary medicine. And it's a device, a laser, it's usually handheld, in which it's a wand that you're actually, and I use it mainly for orthopedic problems, for animals that have really bad arthritis, say hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia, shoulder problems, and also animals that have back issues like disc disease, herniated discs, and that's where it's used in people a lot too. What the laser does, it's actually 2 wavelengths of light that are really powerful, that they penetrate through the tissues and get to the source of where the problem is. And let's say we're working on a hip joint. It's all geared and all figured out. It's all computerized, how much energy, and that's what laser therapy is really energy, is being put into that area. But the wavelength of energy, one is for pain, and it really is just specifically for pain management. And the other gives the cells that are damaged, that are trying to heal, gives them the energy to really speed up the healing process. And that's just what the body's looking for many times, is nutrition to help heal itself and the energy to heal itself, okay? And so there's different protocols that are used. People say, oh, do they have to have laser all the rest of their life? No. I have animals, we do a 6-protocol treatment, and then maybe once a month or once every 2 or 3 months, they come in. I have a little dog, a little dachshund, which everyone knows dachshunds have back issues, okay, poor because of their long little backs. And this poor little guy was totally paralyzed. I mean, he couldn't walk in his back end, he couldn't urinate, he couldn't defecate. The owner brought him in, and he had been like this for almost 3 months, and I was the last hope. And he's up, he's walking, he's running. If you saw him today, you'd never even know he had a problem. The owner brings him in now. Oh, he ran after a squirrel yesterday and he tweaked something. So brings him in, we do some treatments. So it's lovely. It's just amazing. Mm-hmm.
That's nice. All right, I'm out of questions. So I want to open up the line to anyone else that might have any questions. You can type it in the chat box that you have. If you have any questions, you can add. I'm just going to wait a few minutes, see if anyone types anything in. So do you want to remind us again where your practice is?
For sure.
And how people can get in touch with you if they want to?
Yeah, I'm located in Pennsylvania, near Doylestown. I always say I'm sandwiched between Doylestown, Quakertown, and the river, New Jersey. So 20 minutes in all directions. Little town called Ottsville, which is very close to Lake Nakamixon Park. Not too far really from Milford, the bridge to Milford, New Jersey. Best way to reach me is you can just Google, Dr. Suzanne Walski, Meadowbrook Animal Healing, and I'll come up. And there's just call my phone number, my office number, and leave a message. I work by myself, which has been a beautiful kind of experience for me. I had an extremely busy animal hospital, and as things geared down, and I was called Meadowbrook Animal Hospital, and I'm not really a hospital anymore. So like 2 years ago, I changed the name to Meadowbrook Animal Healing, because that's what I feel I'm doing more, is helping animals heal themselves at this point in time. But yeah, just leave a message on the answering machine. I always get back to people that day. Truly, if it's an emergency, I do have an emergency number where, there's an emergency hospital locally that people can go to. But yeah, that's where I am.
Excellent. All right. We did not have any more questions come in, so we're going to wrap it up. And I just wanted to thank you for spending time with us this evening and explaining holistic pet care for us.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully everyone will be seeing this on YouTube and writing us some questions below.
Great.
So,
thank you very much for having me. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you.